Hey there, and welcome. Today we're going to tackle a word you use every single day, have. But here's the thing, it can be kind of tricky. Don't worry though, by the end of this, you'll have a super clear idea of how to use it like a pro. Let's dive in.
So picture this. You're chatting with a friend and they say something like, I have to tell you I just had the best coffee. Wait a minute, we've got have and had in the same sentence. It's the same basic word, but they mean totally different things. How is that possible?
And that is the puzzle we're going to solve right now. Understanding the different jobs this one little word can do is a key that unlocks a much more natural, much more fluent way of speaking English.
And here's our game plan. We're going to break it all down into 3 simple keys: possession, experience, and obligation. After that, we'll look at a couple of common traps to avoid, and then we'll wrap up with a quick quiz to test what you've learned. Simple enough, right? Let's get started.
All right, let's dive right into our first key. This is the one you probably know best, using have to talk about ownership or possession.
Okay, so the big idea here is that possession isn't just about stuff you can hold, like a book or a phone. You can also have an idea, have a headache, or have a ton of experience. Think of it as ownership in the biggest, broadest sense of the word.
Okay, before we get any further, this is the most important grammar rule you need to know for this section. It's really simple. For I, you, we, and they, you use the word have. For he, she, and it, you've got to use has. Seriously, just getting this one thing right will make you sound so much more fluent.
Let's look at a few examples so you can see exactly how this works. I have 2 sisters. Simple. But she has a new job. See how it changes? And it works for everything, a physical thing like a house or something abstract like an idea or experience. The rule stays the same. Okay, so what happens when we want to make a negative sentence or ask a question? Easy. We just call in a little helper, the verb do. So I have a car becomes I don't have a car. Now pay close attention here. She has siblings becomes she doesn't have siblings. The verb always switches back to have. It's never she doesn't has. That's a super common mistake, so watch out for it.
All right, moving on to key number 2. This is where things get really cool, because this is how you start to sound way more natural and social. We're talking about using have for experiences.
You could say, I'm going to eat breakfast, but a native speaker will almost always say, I'm going to have breakfast. We use it for meals, drinks, and just tons of everyday stuff, like having a shower, having a meeting, or, my favorite, having a good time. It really is everywhere. Okay, this next point is a little subtle, but it's a total game changer. What's the real difference between let's have coffee and let's drink coffee? Well, have coffee is all about the social experience, the meeting, the conversation. But drink coffee is just about the physical action of putting coffee in your mouth. That's why let's have coffee is such a perfect invitation. It's about sharing an experience, not just drinking a beverage. Okay, let's get to our third and final key, and this one is an absolute powerhouse. The phrase, have to. I promise you are going to use this every single day. So, what does have to mean? Simple. It means something is necessary. You've got an obligation. And usually that obligation comes from somewhere else, like a rule, or your job, or a deadline. I have to go to work because my job says so. She has to study because the exam is tomorrow.
Okay, listen up, because this is super important and a really common point of confusion. You don't have to come means, hey, it's optional, your choice, no big deal. But you must not enter? Whoa, that means it is absolutely forbidden. It's prohibited. Totally different meanings, right? Getting this right is critical.
Okay, we've got our 3 keys down. Now let's talk about a couple of common mistakes, the have traps. If you can avoid these, you're going to sound so much more advanced. The first trap, and probably the most common one, is just forgetting that has rule. It's so easy to do, but it's not, my brother have a new job. It's, my brother has a new job. Why? Well, my brother is just another way of saying he, right? And for he, she, and it, we always use has. And trap number 2 is a big one, especially if your first language is maybe Spanish or French. In English, we don't have an age, we are an age. So it's I am 30 years old, never I have 30 years. Same thing for feelings. You'd say I am hot, not I have hot. All right, you've made it this far, so let's do a super quick quiz. Don't worry, there's no pressure here. It's just a great way to make sure these ideas really stick. Ready? First question.
Imagine your friend Emma must attend a meeting. Which of these is correct? Is it A, Emma have to go to the meeting, or B, Emma has to go to the meeting? Think about that he, she, it rule we talked about.
And the answer is B. Of course it is. Emma is a she, so we've got to use has. Emma has to go to the meeting. You got it. Okay, question number 2. Picture this. You're going to a party, and the host tells you it's not necessary to bring food. How would you say that? Is it A, you don't have to bring food, or B, you must not bring food? Remember that big difference between optional and forbidden.
And the answer is A. You don't have to bring food. It's optional. You can if you want, but it's not required. Must not would be like the host saying, hey, don't you dare bring food here. Big difference. Awesome job.
So, let's wrap this all up with a quick recap. The 3 keys to mastering have are super simple. First, for possession, showing ownership, like I have a car. Second, for experience, talking about activities, like let's have dinner. And finally, for obligation, using have to for necessity, like I have to study. If you can just keep those 3 ideas in your head, you'll be golden.
And that brings us to your challenge. Because learning something is one thing, but actually using it is what makes it stick. So this week, I want you to go out and try to use have in all 3 ways. Tell a friend something you have. Invite someone to have an experience with you. And mention something you have to do. Putting it into practice is honestly the fastest way to make it a natural part of your English. You can totally do this.